at his place on the phone, TV, telephone, computer, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're watching it from. So, hey, we invite you. We thank you for joining us tonight. We are going to share some stuff that is near and dear to our heart. Like, of all the things that we get to discuss and you may hear us talk about, the body language on Facebook or wherever you run across our information, this stuff that we're going to share with you tonight, we feel is the most important for you to have a total encompassing program of understanding how to make the grocery store work for you, how to understand what a protein, a carbohydrate, a fat is, and what all that means, and how to take that and how to put it into your life. Because out of 7 billion people that's on the planet, not one of them is the same. And out of the 15,000 people that we've been blessed to serve, they're all different. I can just tell you from my experience, my body has dramatically changed year by year. Things that used to work for me don't work anymore. Things that did work for me work very slow, and it's a much more drawn out process as I have gotten elder. So I'm sure some of you on here could probably relate to that. So we just invite you to be open-minded and consider the things that we are sharing with you to be gold, because they will really allow you to, if you use them, of course, and execute them, they can really allow you to take control of your life and make a dramatic difference right now. So Chris, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have actually watched over some of the previous weeks. Tonight, we just want to share more valuable information that you might be able to take home and use. We have so much information. We can only share so much. I mean, between Brian and I having, 20, 30, 40 years of experience between us both, when you put all that together, it's hard to share or decide what you're going to share in a short window of time. But we're going to share some really potent information tonight. Some of it's kind of basics. Or basics to us, but then some of it's very advanced. And we just encourage you to pay attention, and we hope you find it valuable. We trust that you will, actually.
Yes. Let's get it.
Awesome. So here we go. First term is iatrogenesis. Maybe you've heard Brian and I talk about this before, but Brian and I, we've been doing this a really long time, but we were first introduced to this word about 2 or 3 years ago, and it shocked and awed us, so much so that we just really use this as a forefront because people require paying attention to their own health. And iatrogenesis is a side effect of you not taking care of yourself and reacting to the system. So we find that we'll explain what that is here in just a moment. We promise, our promise to you right now is by the end of this webinar, you will know more than 99% of all Western medicine doctors about the healing power of foods. A statistic that Brian and I also learned many years ago was that less than 6% of graduating physicians have even 3 credit hours in nutrition. Now they have biology and chemistry and anatomy and other things about the body, but you would think that they would actually study nutrition as a mandatory part if they were actually interested in your well-being, but therefore they are not. But even though that, they are still the medical go-to person for your health.
Yeah, one thing to add to that, Chris, is that the way that our system is designed today is that everything is compartmentalized, meaning when you go to the doctor, they treat you for something and they basically say that we're just going to treat this specific area like it has nothing to do with the rest of them. Now, you may be one of the candidates who have been to the doctor and left with a gallbladder missing or a kidney or whatever. Well, you need all these things. You were born with them on purpose. So for you to keep them is definitely making it to the finish line intact is kind of the way that we like to do things. So the way that we address things is through your whole body. It's not compartmentalized. It all functions together. So the way that we're going to educate and share information with you is based off of this.
So we invite you to be fully present, okay? Which means just focus in, mute your phones, turn off Facebook, close it out, just pay attention. Get some water. If you'll see Brian and I, we grab our jugs and we take a big chug of water. And we'll probably encourage you whenever we do that to do the same thing. Take some notes. soon we'll have a workbook for this, but we encourage you to take some notes because because once again, memory retention goes up dramatically, especially when you do handwritten notes. There's a lot to do with neural pathways that are created when you're actually writing something versus typing something. And remember, look, today is all we have. You are doing something now that you will thank yourself for tomorrow. So this time is time that you're investing in yourself, and we just ask you make the most of it by paying absolute attention.
So here is our little friendly present for you. If you stay till the end, we're actually going to show you how you can get a free 20-minute consultation with Chris and I, or either one of us or both. We'll figure that part out. But we like to do this because it offers something for you to a little incentive, and it's also going to offer you some potentially life-changing information that people come to us from all around the world to kind of get information. So here's some interesting stats. And yes, that's 2013. And yes, we realize that it is 2015. And this is the most updated information that is available. So these numbers represent the amount of deaths in the respective categories. So heart disease is leading the way, but not by far. I have a feeling that cancer will actually kind of catch up to it over the next couple of years. So heart disease, 611,000 deaths per year. You have cancer, 584,000, chronic lower respiratory diseases, 150,000, stroke, 128, almost 129, Alzheimer's, 85, diabetes, 75,000, and influenza and pneumonia, almost 57,000. Now, death by modern medicine, and I will add to you this. I believe it's very important that you understand that we love Western medicine in the sense that if you break your leg or you require your lungs being replaced, and I highly encourage you to go to a Western medicine doctor. If you have health issues and symptoms that are showing up and you're getting medications, then we highly encourage you to probably get some of the information that we have and save yourself a trip. So just to let you know, a lot of the information that we have may come across as us not supporting, and that's definitely not the case. We choose to master the basics, which is something that they don't focus on. So death by modern medicine, as of 2013, 2.2 million adverse drug reactions, 20 million prescribed antibiotics for viral infections, 7.5 million unnecessary surgical procedures, 783,000 deaths due to modern medicine. That's the #1 cause of death. 350,000 deaths per year linked to overweight and obesity. And if you find yourself in any of these situations, obviously you'd be dead in the other ones, but if you find yourself in a position where you're taking medications, you're obese, you're out of shape, and these resonate with you, look, we love you. We're not here to cast you down or to condemn you or say bad things about you. We're actually here to love you and support you and to show you that there is a way that you can take your life back with simple information that we're going to share with you specifically tonight on how you can do it, okay? There's an estimated 220,000 to 448,000. I don't know, Chris, but for me, that's kind of odd. That's a wildly large, vast gap between estimated deaths from preventable medical errors. Now, you heard the term iatrogenesis at the beginning. Iatrogenesis is the term that Western medicine uses for medical deaths that happen that are unnecessary, whether it's from adverse drug reactions, it's from medical errors, bed sores, staph infection. MRSA is a big deal. With all the medically resistant antibiotics that we have out now and all of the viruses that keep morphing and changing to where the antibiotics won't work, that's MRSA, medically resistant staph infection. And there is a massive amount of people that get staph in the hospital, okay? So you have infection, you have surgical error, you have unnecessary procedures, and you have outpatient deaths. A lot of interesting data there. But here's the deal. It's not your fault. Literally, we have been being branded for the last 60 or 70 years that you should go to your doctor. How many commercials do you see on medications, and how many 5-minute conversations or 5-minute takes after the video of actually talking about the prescription do you have of all the side effects? Same thing with Coca-Cola. We have been being branded for the last 70 or 80 years, so you have been taught consistently daily that this is what you should do. So it's not your fault. And we understand that. And what we're going to do is we're going to shed some light on 9 myths that you may be operating under as true and may not be understanding. So we're going to shed some light on them so you understand what's actually applicable, okay? Eating past 6 p.m. makes you fat. Not true. Our bodies are constantly burning calories. The key is to understand how many calories you need for your body and how much of that's going to come from proteins, carbs, and fats. This is all stuff that we can help you dial down. Without that, that is the biggest keystone to making sure that you are successful. As a professional, I wasted a good 6 months not working with someone, meaning having someone check my measurements on a weekly basis to identify where I'm at and how my food's working. And I can tell you that even as a professional, I have someone who does my diet and I measure Chris's. So we have accountability systems and structures in place. And I encourage you to do so because it gets you out of your own thinking mechanism and your own emotional components. So we missed number 2, Chris. That's all right.
Yeah.
So number 3, we'll throw one in there for you. So low-fat diets and no-fat diets are good for you. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I would say, what are those guys called? Our government helpers, the pyramids people, whatever. Basically, low fat is what happened. Is what they did was they pulled all the fats out. When they pulled all the fats out, they put sugars in. That's where you start having all the diabetic issues. That's where you start having cholesterol issues because of all the sugars and things. And fats are very crucial for you. It's just, once again, it's the amount of them and the types. Some ones that you should stay away from, we'll actually get into a little bit further down the talk. Saturated fats are bad. This is inaccurate, specifically because coconut oil and real butter is actually one of 2 of the best fats that you can actually use. Like, we actually use coconut oil and some of our clients have HIV/AIDS, and this is an amazing tool for lowering viral levels. Like, if you have diarrhea, make sure you get some coconut shavings, saute them in coconut oil, and it will stop that, and it will massively boost your immune system because of the monolaurin that is in coconut oil. If you are a mother breastfeeding, coconut oil is extremely important for you because of the monolaurin that it actually creates. It's actually lauric acid in coconut, but your body, females' bodies that are breastfeeding, will convert it into monolaurin, which is really high, and that's what actually helps the newborn baby to boost our immune system. So number 5, medication is the only way to fight disease. I think that in today's day and age, there's a lot more people becoming hip to the fact that I don't think that's so accurate. Chemo has a 2%. Was it 2%, Chris?
Success rate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Like, we invite you to watch the series called The Truth About Cancer. It's 11 episodes long. I mean, I invested a whole 7 or 8 hours a couple of Sundays ago, and man, it's got some amazing information in it that we really encourage you and invite you to check out, and we'll actually share some of it with you. Number 6, a doctor is the only place to go for health. That is also questionable nowadays because they're really questionable on how well they can take care of your health. Not bad, not wrong, just feedback. Number 7, fat-free equals sugar-free. That is a huge myth. And here's what I invite you to take away. If you're taking notes, write that down. Because when you go to the store and it says, oh, this is fat-free, and you're like, oh, great, and it tastes good. Well, my question to you is, where do you think the taste is coming from? And I'm getting a sip. I invite you to do the same. Tasty. So, number 8, all sugars are created equal. This is also not a fact because a Coke sugar is dramatically different from a sugar in a a carrot. And we'll talk about the glycemic index and the glycemic load, which is 2 very valuable pieces of information that can be extremely helpful for you managing and reversing illnesses, but also getting into your best shape. Like, literally, you can walk down into your best shape in 6 to 8 months, not depriving yourself of anything, just understanding what to have and how to do it. So number 9, you can lose up to 20 pounds of fat in 7 days. And I think this is important because this is where a lot of the mayhem is in the whole marketing industry of people saying this kind of stuff. It's completely inaccurate. Okay, so first off, it's important to understand. You may want to write this down. 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories, which means in order for your body to burn body fat, you have to have enough protein, fats, and carbs for your body to keep your muscle tissue on your body, and for it to resort in burning only body fat, which means that you can literally only have up to about 1,000 to 1,200 calorie deficit a day before you really start putting yourself into a position where your body starts burning muscle tissue. So to think that you're going to cut 3,500 calories, whatever that is, times 20 in 7 days is completely, it's false. Don't even set your mind on that. I would invite you to adopt this philosophy. Meal by meal and day by day is how you're going to get to your success point. And that's the best way I can tell you, because there's no fast ways. There are faster ways once you get on the right track, but there's no fast ways of doing it. Sorry. And I love you. Next one. So it's not your fault. If you've tried 20 different diets and the weight won't come or stay off, we completely understand. There's a lot of things that go into it that people don't explain on a science level to where you can truly understand it. Have you been taking medications and wasting money? What about polluting your body for multiple years with no noticeable differences in you feeling better? Man, I know there's a lot of those because we deal with a lot of them, and you may be one of them. And we invite you to consider that there are definitely some different options. And you'll actually hear from some of our clients firsthand here tonight about some experiences that they had specifically with these areas. Are you trying, if you might be the individual who is trying to maximize your life in every area, and you may resonate with all three of those, and that's perfect, because the stuff we're going to address tonight will actually help you no matter where you're at on your journey. Oh yeah. So hey, what's important for you to understand that honestly, we are just like you. We've just been doing this for longer, and we have dedicated our lives to doing this so that we can show up fully and support you. And I don't know if you know it or not, but I am on the right-hand side with a nice beard and a belly. You know what's crazy? I want to show you something. So check out both of Chris's, check out my left shoulder and check out Chris's left shoulder, and look at our collarbones and how our shoulder girdles are not level. Okay, that left shoulder hiked up means that we have a burden about receiving, and obviously you can tell from our bodies that we did not love ourselves at that point in time.
Nope.
There's a lot of stuff that we want to do. What?
Listen, you can tell by our faces we didn't.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of information that we won't get into tonight, but when we start talking about body language, Chris will probably confirm this with you. In my opinion, of all the stuff that we've ever learned and all the skills and mindsets and knowledge and wisdom that we have been blessed to learn and share and be gifted, I have never in my life ever experienced anything more potent and powerful than understanding body language and being able to identify where someone's subconscious emotional glitches are by what their body is communicating. Like right now, you may be itching your nose, itching your leg, you may be playing with your fingers, your foot may be going forward and backwards or bouncing around. All of that is communication that your body is communicating with me right now, energetically using your body as a device. Chris, go ahead.
I 100% agree and confirm. But good news, good news. Of all those symptoms and deaths and stuff Brian talked about, 90% of deaths in America are preventable with better lifestyle choices. These adverse drug reactions, you can change your lifestyle habits. You can stop having those. You can stop spending so much time in the hospital by changing your lifestyle choices. Cancer, believe it or not, is preventable with better lifestyle choices. And so is everything else. Heart disease, cholesterol, diabetes. Most of these are environment caused, and therefore environment is what is killing you. But your lifestyle choices are what affect and change your environment. So we spend a lot of time focusing on the 4 pillars. Our 4 pillars are air, water, food, and consciousness, because it really just takes you right back to the basics, right? What is the quality of the water that you're drinking, and how much are you drinking? What is the air that you're breathing, and how much? Because these are the first things that you'll die without. You know, a few minutes without air, a few days without water. Food is third, really. It's like, you know, down the pyramid. But the quality of the food that you put in your mouth has a dramatic impact in your overall health. And those are your environment. But then there's also your spiritual and your mental environment, right? Because stress is related to like every single disease. Basically, it makes them worse. It makes them function. It makes them kick in faster. And your belief systems and your perceived stress can dramatically affect whether you're successful or you're a failure, whether you're sick or you're healthy. And when we're talking about body language, these things going on in your mind and your spirit have a physical impact. And so by helping you understand that, using it as a tool, and this is the way we share our information because it dramatically will change your life. So just a little bit about Brian and us. We have about 40 years combined experience. We say 15,000 case studies. Really what we mean by that is just a massive amount of clients that we have been through over the last, combined years of experience. Here's a laundry list of certifications that we have. A lot of these Brian has from training, but then a lot of these we have, we both have, right? So for example, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, it's the largest nutrition school in the world. Brian and I both attended that. NASAM and Baylor Sports and Medicine and Brian, Conquering Any Disease is one of the most powerful tools. We're going to share some of that information tonight. Bob Stevenson's one of our coaches. He has taught us a lot of these, the human operating system coach and the body language and the conscious language. Touch for Health is acupressure. We've learned from Eastern Meridians and all these other things. These are some examples of some certifications that we have between us. And this is very, very powerful information. And to show you how much time and experience we have put in this, Brian and I invest so heavily into ourselves through education constantly. In fact, in 2014, between the both of us, we spent about $100,000 in coaches. That's to further our knowledge, just to be able to help people more effectively. And that's a powerful investment. The greatest return you will ever get is investing in yourself. And now we have shared all this experience and all the money and all this time that we've invested in ourselves helps us really filter down and give you the best information we can that we have learned. So this is some of the stuff we've been up to, right? We love to share our message. We're invited to speak all types of wonderful places. Brian and I in the top center picture, that's us at Life Austin. We have taught a multiple week programs at multiple churches not because it's religious by sense, but because people that are trying to help improve their lives, a lot of them are in that church environment. I'll let Brian talk to his pictures, but over here on the right, this is me speaking at the March Against Monsanto. I've spoken there the last 2 years. Thousands of people show up in Austin. Millions across the world all march and protest basically the quality of their food. And it's all about understanding what genetically modified foods are and how they affect your body. I haven't been invited to speak again this year, and that comes up here in a month or so, and I'm excited to do that. Brian, you want to talk about your picks?
Yes, I do. And here's an interesting news topic for today that Chipotle has actually gone GMO free. So they're the first public chain restaurant to actually adopt non-genetically modified foods. So awesome. So Chris talked a little bit about, the one of him and I up at the top. And if you look in the very top of that picture in the back of it, you see this heart-shaped pizza and this red velvet cupcake. And we believe it's important for you to understand that we have fixes that we would get from cupcakes and pizzas. So we understand, and we are human just as you. And it's important for you to know that, because a lot of people think that, well, you guys did this and did that. Look, I've been 263 different times. I understand what it's like to be fat. I understand what it's like to be obese, completely hate yourself, love yourself, back into it, and make the resurrection process physically 3 times. So I get it. So, the picture in the middle with me standing there and a bunch of people sitting there in black shirts is where Chris and I actually get invited to go speak at Aveda Institute here in Austin. And that's always awesome, because we always get to talk about the stuff that we're talking about now, because it's all health and wellness and detoxification and great things for your skin. So a lot of that we'll get into tonight. The gentleman up on the top left-hand corner, you may have seen him. His name is Mr. Jonathan Sprinkles. He is an international, very well-known public speaker. He's a really good friend of mine, one of my clients, and I actually handle all of his nutrition stuff for him and his staff. So this guy travels like, I'm like, let me just give you an example. He'll do a 4-day event in Houston. He leaves that night, goes to another location in Austin, does a day and a half, leaves there after that, goes to another place, and he will literally do this nonstop. And I was like, John, I don't know how you do it, brother. I was like, I couldn't do that. Like, if I travel and I'm out for a week or two, it is a lot on your body and on your mind, but this guy does it on a regular basis. He's been on the Dr. Phil show here lately. He was on the Steve Harvey show lately. He's actually one of the mentors for the Disney program, which is pretty cool, the Dreamers Academy. But amazing guy. Like Chris and I get blessed to work with these kind of people all the time. On the bottom down there, where it says, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. That is where I was in the middle of the jungle in Cancun, Mexico at the beginning of this year, right after Christmas. I left on the 26th and was gone through a little bit of January. And I was literally out in the middle of the jungle, living in a hut with monkeys and turkeys and all kinds of stuff. And Chris and I put ourselves in these kind of situations on a pretty regular basis to really push ourselves and to really push through limits and really push through patterns and things that are holding us back. You know, it's funny because this may be something to resonate with you, but for a long time, for some reason, I had made up the story that my dad didn't love me. And my dad and I have a great relationship now. My dad came from more of his father was a military background. So love and hugs and I love you wasn't really exchanged on the level that it was with my mom and I. So I didn't feel at the time that that was something that was catered to or it was met my needs as a youngster growing up. So for a long time, I thought my dad didn't love me. I had told myself that story for some reason. And what was weird is that at this event, we were doing a bunch of breath work right around the fire. And man, I went through a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of emotions came up. It was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had, but it was amazing because it was during that time that I remembered my dad loved me when I was 3 years old. And it was crazy because I had made this story up in my head unknowingly. And here's the thing. We are humans. You are doing some of the same things. You may be reacting towards females because they're the feminine energy. You may have issues with your mom and some females may trigger you, or the same thing with your dad. Well, this is all stuff that we help you get into. And I can tell you this much. If these things are happening and you are unaware of them and you are sabotaging yourself consistently and your relationships aren't fulfilled, your body is not where you want it to be, and you find yourself always slipping up and falling off the wagon, then I promise you there's some things that are operating that are very easily found out and very easily worked through if you're willing to just deal with the pain just for a second. So we have done a lot of things wrong, and I think it's important for you to know this because we're definitely not perfect. Chris?
Yeah, we have not. It's been a learning experience. So when Brian and I first started this venture together as partners, we were interested in doing something different. We wanted to educate people. We wanted to teach people. So we decided to get in the corporate wellness market. We thought we could train with what we knew about fitness and nutrition. And we started giving lectures at different companies. The state of Texas actually became one of our first clients. We spoke at probably 7 or 8 different major state agencies about health and wellness and how to start taking care of yourselves. And then the next thing was everybody started, well, we want to work out with you guys and we want to train with you guys. And we're like, oh, okay. So we started up our own fitness facility thinking that was the next great move. And unfortunately, then we got so busy running a gym and doing activities and stuff that it actually took us away from everything Brian and I really love to do, which was actually educate and teach people. But it also taught us something else, right? We knew so much about physical exercise and nutrition, and we were helping so many people, but many people kept still failing out of the program because of stuff they had going on in their relationships, their work environment, limiting belief systems about themselves. And it really helped us understand that there was a gap that we required filling to really be able to help people. And that was about educating people about their mindset. So that's when Brian and I started studying counseling, body language, conscious language, all these different other aspects about somebody's mental and physical and spiritual health that helps them really go down the right path, right? Find out what they're struggling with emotionally and help them resolve that issue, because the physical stuff is actually easy, especially when you're in the right place. So we learned a lot from this experience. We ran the gym for 3+ years, a few different locations, and we eventually decided that wasn't our business. Our business was health, coaching individuals and educating people. But, once again, we made so many mistakes with so many different clients, but they're all learning experiences. It was all about understanding, like, there's, somebody has to go through the trial and error, right? Somebody has to, fail, and you have to experience with people, and you have to help them in diet and nutrition, and then give up, and then realize that that's what you were missing with. We have gone through this so many times that we realized there's a hard way to do this and there's an easy way to do this. And you've already taken a big step. You've already decided to register for this webinar and learn from Brian and I. So you're taking the easy way already. Learn from people that have already been through it. That is so much easier. And so once again, we're just here to share with you our 40 years experience, all the thousands of people that we have worked with. We have found a formula to work for your health and your vitality. And it's not just nutrition. Right? It's not just physical exercise. It is so much to do with your mind, body, and your spirit. What's up, Brian?
Yes, and I invite you to consider this. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of hard-headed at times, and I can be rather stubborn. I think I get it from my dad, and that's okay. I own it. And I'm also open-minded at this point in time in my life. And really the purpose of this is so that you know this. There's a massive difference between learning by experience, which means being hard-headed, and learning from knowledge, which means taking it from someone who's been there, done that, and is still doing it and sharing with you what is working right now. So take that and write it down in your little book. I choose to learn from knowledge versus learning from experience. That way you don't have to bang your head. Carry on.
So what we do is we'd like you to imagine this is some of the successes, and we're going to share some of them with you, with our clients. But these are all successes we've had with our clients, and maybe these are applicable to you, right? So imagine now you've had more energy than you've had in years. Imagine you're wearing clothes that you wore at your best. Maybe that was in high school or college. There is really such an amazing feeling when you fit into jeans or shorts or maybe in women's case, a dress that you haven't been able to wear in 10 years because you gained weight and you weren't able to get back down to that original weight. So just imagine you're back there, back at your best shape. You're enjoying life pain-free. And I gotta tell you, this is a big one, because in my world, one of the reasons why I studied this stuff the way I did, and Brian too, was we both had issues with our parents. My mom got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And if you don't know what that is really a debilitating disease, a nerve condition where the pain just gets worse and worse. It started with pain in her hands. There was like pain in her arms. And eventually it was pain that really took over her whole body. And she could be bedridden for 2 or 3 days. And Western medicine doctors don't have an answer. They have immune suppressants to calm your immune system down. They have painkillers, but they basically just give that to you. They say, come back for regular tests, but you're going to get worse. And I was afraid I was going to have my mom rush around. But with just changing her food and her water, just changing her diet and her environment, okay, in 5 months, she was totally pain-free. She no longer required any of her medications. She started teaching dance again because she loved it and she could, right? And so pain-free, if you've been dealing with chronic pain, trust me, it is not something that you have to quote unquote deal with for the rest of your life. Many times there's a solution, but it's a solution outside your doctor's advice. Your relationships are more connected than ever before. And I'll tell you, and Brian can probably talk to this too, is when we meet with somebody, a lot of times they come to us for nutritional guidance, but then we find out there's underlying issues with maybe their kids or their significant other, where there's a troubled relationship, or maybe it's at work. And we can help you understand and identify what's going on in that situation, how to change your perspective, how to address these situations. And it's really like conflict resolution, but it really happens inside your heart. And you're no longer wasting money on medications where foods can reverse symptoms. And I'll tell you, we have a testimonial coming up at the end that is powerful. People that have been on 3, 4, 5, 6 medications, and now they're on none. But once again, doctors don't tell you how to get off the medications. They tell you how to get on. And we're here to tell you how to get off medications. And that's powerful information. So a little disclaimer. I don't know if you know this, but Brian and I, well, we're not doctors, nor do we choose to be. And that's a good thing for you, because if we had been gone through the doctor level of education, not that that's not great and wonderful and everything, but we'd probably be brainwashed to the system where medications are good and food doesn't do anything. But we're not. And we encourage you, if you are under the care of the doctor, to bounce any information we share with you off your doctor, because, well, that's how the legal system works. But once again, they might not know anything about what we tell you because, well, they're not educated in this area of department.
Yeah, and I have something to share with you. I think it's really important because I find with a lot of my clients that they kind of get backed into a corner where they feel there's no choice and they feel they have to do whatever treatment is they're talking about here. And I invite you to consider this. You always have a choice. Even if you don't, you always have a choice. Give yourself permission to honor yourself, meaning if I'm going to, this is a writer downer for you. This is body language. If you listen to this and you use this tool I'm about to share with you, you will be able to honor yourself and you will be able to walk fully aligned in your decisions, okay? So your body language, you have this. If you are tight in your stomach, so you can write down stomach equals fear. If you're tight in your stomach, stomach equals fear. If you're tight in your chest and your throat, that is sadness. If you are tight in your back and your neck, that is anger. If you have tingly spots all over you, provided your leg's not numb, that is joy and enthusiasm. Okay, so for example, if you're having to make a decision and you're like, I wonder how I feel, just check in with your body. Oh wow, notice that I have some tightness in my stomach. Oh, I have a little bit of fear. Okay, is this a rational fear? Is this an irrational fear? Is this something that I should push through? Using this information, your body is the tool to listen to, but so many of us are disconnected. And it's important for you to understand that your body is literally your thermostat that's going to guide you through your process. So here is your first process. The 7 big steps to freedom in your health. Number 1, we're going to talk about understanding your macros, which is a fancy schmancy word for your proteins, fats, and carbs for your body. Micro, those are the small things. So macro, big, micro, small. Micro, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, phytonutrients, which are plant and light-based, that are key for your health. And it's honestly, it is truly 100% accurate that the phytonutrients, which are plant-based nutrients, that are the keys for longevity and reversals of illnesses, without doubt. The 7 best dietary theories we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about why we think they're the best ones. We're going to talk about digestive flora, and you should know that you should have 4 pounds of gut bacteria right now in your gut. Is that exciting? And did you know that your gut is literally just like your brain, if not more? That's where all of your serotonin, your dopamine, and all of your good feeling hormones are created. You know that 85% of your immune system is located in your gut, and we're going to show you what to do to boost your immune system. We're going to show you the symptom reversing foods and how to get off meds. We're also going to talk about the power of blending and juicing, and I can tell you this much. I have a juicer and a blender, and I can tell you that when I got my blender after going to my teacher's class 3-4 years ago now, I actually left early to go and get it and borrowed my friend's Costco membership so I could get it, and I can tell you this much. It is a dramatic investment in your health, and if you don't have one, I encourage you to do so. You can gladly message Chris and I, and we'll consult you and give you information and feedback to love and support you. And the next one is goals and accountability. I don't care what kind of goals you have. If you don't have accountability, meaning someone that you report to, you are not going to be maximizing you, because by human nature, our little self, which is our egoic mind, and if you're subconsciously sabotaging yourself because of unforgiveness or anger or I don't love myself or whatever that looks like, you are not going to maximize your goals, and you're only going to participate to about 20% of your capabilities. So step number 1, what do I really need to know about how to manipulate my body composition? Okay, this is really important, because so this is where Chris and I take our fitness world, meaning coming from bodybuilding and fitness and figure backgrounds and understanding how to take people from 300 pounds and get them into show shape. This is where this information comes in. This is where we blend our backgrounds in with understanding symptom-specific reversals. So proteins are crucial. That's the only thing that can build muscle. And there's a difference between plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins. And understanding which ones are most effective for you is the key. Everyone is different. So we would sit down and strategize with you, ask you a gazillion amount of questions, and figure out exactly what works for you and help you structure this stuff out. Carbohydrates. If you are diabetic, listen, I'm going to share a few very valuable points with you. You should not be eating fruits right now. If you're diabetic, I would not recommend eating fruits right now. Stick with sweet potatoes, black beans, quinoa, brown rice, steel-cut oats, squash, and zucchini. Those are amazing. And okra, so when I'm cutting my carbs, I'm cycling my carbs right now. So cycling your carbs means, for example, here's what I do. I have a set amount of protein that I eat per day, per meal, just like Chris does. I have 7 ounces. My carbohydrates, I'll have 200 grams one day, 150 the next, and 100 the next. Now, the best carbohydrates that I've found that are really low, like I can eat 3.5 ounces of squash or zucchini, and it's only 6 grams of carbohydrates. And it's amazing for the fiber and the nutrients that it gets. So what we're going to do is we're going to share with you information like this so you can understand what needs to happen for you, because you deserve to have the body that you desire. It's like your vehicle. There's no sense in driving a Pinto when a Ferrari is available. Fats. Fats are very important for you. Olive oil is really important for you. And in body language wise, we're going to throw some cool stuff in there for you. If you're having love issues, you require olive oil because it lubricates the heart. An affirmation for you is I love love, and I love with all my heart. If you've been heartbroken, cancel clear, or had pain from an experience or relationship, I'm talking to you specifically because I've had this experience in myself, my past. But fats like nuts and seeds and avocados and olive oil, coconut oil, real butter is actually good for you. There's so much research out on it now where I used to think that it was bad because it was saturated, but there's actually some good saturated fats for you that are great for hormone production and cholesterol. How often should I eat? Every 3 hours. You should eat something every 3 hours. Your body is like your car. So if you're taking off on a long distance journey, you would not fill your car up with a quarter tank of gas, and then when you're cruising down the road, the light comes on and says fill me up, and you're like, oh, I'm good, let's keep cruising. Well, the issue is that a lot of people do that with their body. And here's the thing is our bodies are very smart. They're going to learn to live off a starvation mechanism, which means that when you think you're doing good, you're like, oh, I'm just going to skip a few more meals because I don't need these calories right now. I'm trying to drop it fast, and I'm going to get 5 pounds off by Friday. Well, not so great, because what's going to happen is your body's going to burn all of your muscle tissue up because muscle takes more food to conserve. Your body's always going to store fat because that is what it gets the most energy out of. Remember when we said 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories, okay? The importance of breakfast is that is your first meal of the day. That's like topping your vehicle off before you drive across country. And we always suggest that you have a balance of fats, proteins, and carbs with that meal. And we can obviously talk about specifics and help you out. And if you stay around, you actually can get your consultation where we can discuss this stuff with you. So let me tell you about Russell. Russell, I love Russell. He obviously is in amazing shape right now, but let me tell you the story is that we got from him down to 23%, down to 13% twice, and he sabotaged himself and went all the way back up to 23 both times. And you know why? Because he didn't love himself. He was not forgiving himself. He had mom issues, dad issues, both, and he was not loving himself, forgiving himself, and allowing himself permission. So what we did is we dove into his mindset. Specifically, started creating affirmations. Specifically, he would read them and do them while he was doing his cardio to change his mindset. And now he walks around at literally 6 or 7% body fat. All of his custom tailor-made clothes don't fit. So it is possible. Possible. Go ahead, bro.
So, and not to underestimate this, what we learned from the fitness world is there's so many fitness people that physically look amazing, right? They've manipulated their body fat, they're lean, and they are so unhealthy, right? What they they miss under is the micronutrients. The micronutrients are the keys to your health, your vitamins, your minerals, and your enzymes. These are the keys to being really actually healthy. Vitamins, if you don't know what vitamins means, it is actually vital amino acids. So when we first discovered some of the first amino acids, which was A, all the different B's, C, D, E, and K, those are your most vital amino acids, but there's hundreds of different types of amino acids in our body that they uses. And a lot of these we only get from fruits and vegetables. And so when you go onto the bodybuilders type diet, a lot of times they're doing grains and they're doing proteins, but they're not eating fruits and vegetables, and they're definitely not doing raw fruits and vegetables, which a lot of these are temperature sensitive, especially when we're talking about enzymes. You know, Brian and I talk a lot about like glutathione, which is found in asparagus and avocado. This is a protein-based enzyme that does amazing things for both detoxing your liver and your kidneys. It passes the blood-brain barrier and fight off free radicals on your brains. And enzymes are like the key to our true health. I mean, they manage our blood sugars, they manage our hormones, they fight disease. They're there for your metabolic and your thyroid. motor function, for almost everything you physically do. Enzymes are responsible for a lot of that. And people are unaware of how food has such an impact in your overall health. And what we're talking about now is really just the plant-based food. And they're underestimated. This is why we recommend things like smoothie making, which we'll talk about in a little while, because it's a way to take in massive amounts of raw fruits and vegetables in a way that you probably weren't taking them in before, which is raw, and you're probably taking in a week's of what you used to do in a week in a day or a drink.
And I can tell you this much, two things to add to that. One is if you take enzymes on an empty stomach, they help with recovering, like muscle recovery, tissue recovery. And some of the best ones to take is one called Wobenzyme. If you're in pain, I've been using Wobenzyme since I pulled my groin with Chris and I were in jiu-jitsu. And that has helped my leg dramatically between doing that and cryo freezing myself, which you probably saw me do a video on. But this is Carol right here. This is an amazing story. Like, I've had so many of these, I get so enthusiastic to talk about them, but I expect this to happen every time we introduce this information to people that are having these issues. So Carol is 73 years old. She would shoot me if she said that. She's 73 years old, and when she came down with debilitating asthma when she was 20 years old. Now, the issue is that she had her passion literally was playing tennis, and she was robbed from that and hasn't literally been able to do that since we met recently. Well, when I say recently, it's been about a year and a half ago. But long story short, Carol, asthma was so bad that she moved to Arizona to try out the different climates. And she still had 2 cardiac arrest situations happen because she wasn't able to breathe and went into CPR situations, which is pretty scary. She had 4 to 5 different professionals from all around the world look at her and try and help her, and all they would do was pump her up with the asthmatic sprays and things like that, and nothing ever changed. Well, we connected and we started doing some work together, and the first day we met, we did some workout stuff, and literally, like, we worked out for 20 seconds and took a break for a minute for her to catch her breath. Worked out for 20 seconds, took a break for a minute. So this went on for an hour, and I said, all right, Carol, so here, I have something for you. Let's cruise by the store real quick. We're going to grab a couple things. And all I did, I'll tell you exactly what I did, is we got some Nordic Naturals fish oils. The EPA is really the one that you're looking for. So here's 2 things with fish oils. DHA is for brain function. If you're not taking it, I encourage you to do so. It is the most nutrient deficient fat that we have in our brain that is dramatically important for reversing Alzheimer's and all kinds of dementia, and it will dramatically improve your cognitive short-term and long-term memory function. So the brand that we use is called Nordic Naturals. It's DHA extra. Now, the EPA component in fish oils, if you're getting fish oils, you only want these 2 components, DHA and EPA. EPA is for inflammation, okay? So asthma is an issue of inflammation, okay? So we started her on fish oils and 2 kiwis a day. Kiwi, the little hairy fruit that has it's from New Zealand, okay? There's a ton of studies done on it in Italy where kids' allergy issues were reduced by 70 to 80%, which is massive. So let me just finish the story. There's 2 tidbits for you. If you know someone who's suffering from allergies or asthma, I invite you to use that. That's a freebie on us. But what happened is we went and got this stuff. The next day, she came back and worked out. And literally, we worked out for an hour straight with no issues. And I said, Carol, what else did you do besides what I asked you to do? And she says, nothing. I did the fish oils, like you said, and I did the 2 kiwis. Before I came in, I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like, no, that's all I did. I was like, wow. I was like, this is amazing. It's like you literally, your life has changed. Like you were playing tennis at 20 years old and you had to stop for 43 years and you went to multiple professionals spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to gain your health, and we invested $22 at the store and reversed it in 30 minutes. What? This happens all the time. If you are one of these people, try that and see how it works for you, and I love you. So, diet theories. So these are 7 of our top favorites. And we say top favorites because the way Chris and I filter information is we're always looking for balance. If you have something that's low on carbs and no fats, and fats are bad, and high proteins, wrong. Not serving your highest potential. You require something that is fit for you, that uses proteins, carbs, and fats in the amounts that you need for your specific body. And you require measuring your body fat once a week so you can see what's going on. So here's the ones that we love. The Mediterranean diet's amazing. I love Mediterranean food. I would make a great Greek. South Beach diet's and also a very good balanced one. The Zone diet is an also a great balanced one. Atkins diet, when it's done healthily, is actually some very good stuff. And if there's someone who is strictly or who is severely obese, this is probably how we would start you out for a little while, but we would do it a little bit differently than what the old school one was done, where you're eating steaks and cheese and all kinds of crap like that. I can tell you this much. Myself, I lost 50 pounds in 2.5 months, and I hated my life, and my friends hated me. They would not be around me when I was doing this, and I was doing 2 45-minute stints of cardio a day, and I lost 50 pounds in 2.5 months and hated it. And here's the issue. When I got off of that and I went back to a normal way of eating, I did not know how to manage my food or how much I should be eating because I had been not eating them completely. And that was an issue. So really what I encourage you to do is have a professional help you do that if that's something you're going to do, to help you bob and weave through the different things to get you on track to something that fits your lifestyle and fits your type. So raw food eating, we highly encourage you to definitely introduce some raw foods, because raw foods are undenatured foods. That's like putting super octane unleaded 124 octane gas in your car. It's amazing. Blood type dieting is also something that we use because there's a ton of research, and Chris and I both have done a lot of stuff with this, and I still use a lot of blood type things because I feel better off of them, and it's probably something that will work really well for you as well. Chris? Water break. Step 4.
So we're also going to spend some time on your immune system. Because I'll be honest, there's a lot of misconceptions about your immune system, and people are unaware of how much their environment has a huge effect of it. And never mind that, most people are totally unaware how big of an impact digestive flora has. Brian mentioned earlier, you have 4 pounds of gut bacteria. You have trillions of bacteria. You actually have more bacteria in your digestive tract than you have cells in your whole body. So we spend a lot of time on how to do that, how to have a good balance, what are the symptoms or the signs if you don't have a good balance, the immune boosting foods that actually help, things like sauerkraut that are loaded with probiotics. We also talk about the body language perspective, people that are dealing with constipation and how stress is impacting their life, and maybe they're just constipated. A lot of times they're just constipated because they have emotional withholding going on. Fighting cancers through food. You know, there's hundreds of published studies against for foods with fighting cancer, killing cancer, stopping reproduction, all with different types of cancer. And we love to share and impart that knowledge. And then, of course, what I talked about how I love to speak at GMOs. We spend a little time about genetically modified organisms. What are the truths about them, and what are the health impacts, and why is labeling important? Lily is one of Brian's clients. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so Lily is one of my awesome clients, and she's one of my awesome crazy clients. I have a lot of crazy clients that do crazy things like run ultra marathons and things like that, and these people are literally amazing what they can endure mentally, and it's crazy to see what their bodies will do, because these are the kind of people they say, all right, you need to eat this, 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 and this, and nothing else, and they do that, and this is what happens. She literally dropped from 31% to 22% in 17 days. That is the most dramatic change that I have seen of any of my clients out of the 15,000 that I've worked with around there. So awesome. So here are some of the foods we're going to discuss. I mean, there's literally hundreds that we'll discuss when we actually go through the actual training, but just to kind of give you some ideas on what's available, we'll start up at the top left. It looks like a blueberry, but that's actually an acai berry. And if you notice the purple color, that's actually because of the pigments in it. One of the biggest things about acai berries, it has anthocyanins in it, just like blueberries. That's the dark color, and that's also what's in blackberries. But the cool thing about acai is that it actually has the ability to cause cancer cells to commit suicide, which is known as apoptosis, which is actually when your cells or our cells are functioning like they're supposed to, they will literally kill themselves when they get to that point. When a cancer cell doesn't shut off, and it starts to mutate and grow, well, that's when you start to run into another issue. And that means your immune system is out of check. So, Chris?
Yeah, there's some other great foods on here that we'd love to spend time on. We talk about all these different mushrooms. We talk about multiple varieties of mushrooms. What mushroom is that? Is that shiitake, Brian?
Agaricus.
Agaricus mushroom. That's one of the mushrooms in AHCC, which is a supplement Brian and I often recommend for people that are trying to boost their immune system. But almost all mushrooms have powerful immune system capabilities. They also are all very loaded with vitamin D. It's funny, I'm a firm believer that nature sort of supplies in environments where you have shortage. You think about the Pacific Northwest, it gets very little sunshine, it's overcast and rainy a lot, and often that's actually where a lot of mushrooms grow, that type of environment. So even though you're lacking in sunlight, the environment is providing you the vitamin D through nature in its own right. Yeah, Brandon, I love to talk about the avocado. It's one of the world's most perfect foods. It's 20% fat by weight. We love to talk about the soluble fiber. You know, grains, a lot of people talk that the USDA tells you to eat grains because grains are actually a big product of America and therefore they're trying to get grains eaten. But it's actually not really required for your diet. You get most of the fiber and you get more nutrients from vegetables, especially something like the avocado. The avocado has the meat, has 3 grams of soluble fiber. The seed in there has got 12 grams of soluble fiber. If you get a high-end blender like Brian mentioned earlier, that Brian and I both have, one whole large house avocado could have 15 grams of soluble fiber. You know, the Cheerios gets an endorsement from the American Heart Association for having 1 gram of soluble fiber, and you're going to eat that Cheerios with milk and sugar, which is probably going to make your cholesterol worse anyway, right? And so think about where in nature there's powerful foods, and we spend so much time on so many different foods because, well, there's healing power in your grocery store if you just know about it.
Yeah, so here's a couple cool things. The agaricus mushroom is actually extremely potent for HIV and cancer situations. Like, that's the go-to cancer supplement. And they actually, when they go and hunt these, they have guard dogs that go with them because of how expensive they are, that people try to steal them. So let's talk about the cilantro for a minute. So if anybody on this call right now has heavy metal toxicity, and I'm not talking about the music, I'm talking about mercury in your teeth, I'm talking about nickel, lead, cadmium, something like that, cilantro is your #1 go-to heavy metal chelator, meaning it pulls or claws out the metals out of your body. And this is very crucial. Make sure if you eat the cilantro that you pair it with the asparagus and or the avocado. Because when you eat the cilantro, it's going to pull the metals out of your brain and put them in your bloodstream, which means that now you've got to get them out of your system. If you're having metal issues and mercury issues, your #1 concern is making sure that your bowel movements are moving freely 2 to 3 times a day. If not, do not start detoxing or pulling metals out of your system because they will go back in and make it worse. So eat the cilantro, pair it with the asparagus and the avocado so that it will literally push those toxins out of your system through your bowels. Mercury and heavy metals are moved through 80% of your bowels. The beet on the bottom right-hand side, the beet beats disease. You see how red it is? That's a blood cleanser. If you have any type of illness, your beet is one of your #1 go-tos. Literally, it can increase your oxygen uptake potential up to 400%. Anytime you have an illness, that typically is representative of your body being acidic, meaning without oxygen. Alkaline means with oxygen. So the beet is amazing. It actually helps to lower heart disease situation because of the betaine. So when you go get your blood checked for your heart, they check for homocysteine levels. If your homocysteine levels are elevated, the beet is the way to go. Chris, you want to add anything?
No, that's good. The only thing else is we also have some other ones, but we're running short on time, I know, so we're going to push it fast. Echinacea is on here. That's what that beautiful flower looking is. Walnut. You know what I love about the walnut is Ayurvedic medicine, which is some of the oldest nutrition we have. It's 5,000 plus years old. They used to say the walnut was good for the brain because they said that there was an identification that a lot of foods look like the body part or the organ that they helped. And if you've ever looked at a walnut, obviously it kind of looks like a brain. Well, science is actually proving that now right, because the walnut actually has alpha lipoic acid or another omega-3, which is really good for you neurologically. It also has melatonin in there, which also is good for you neurologically, helps you sleep, helps you rest, helps you detox. There are hundreds of foods that we love to talk about in our program for all types of symptoms and symptoms or diseases. These are just some of them: diabetes, obesity, cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, cholesterol, autoimmune, fighting colds, flus, and viruses, bacteria or parasites, arthritis, and so many more. And these are ones where we already have success stories around, right? And there are so many foods. If you can just do the research, or you just consult with somebody like us that's already done the research, there's life-saving power, once again, in your grocery store. We want to talk about juicing versus blending here for a minute. And this is actually not which is better. We just like to do this because a lot of people, but both are amazing for you, right? There are so many powerful healing modalities that can be done. Blending is really good. You take in the whole food. Juicing is really good because it's fast-acting nutrients and it's quickly absorbed. But both are amazing for you. And we actually spent some time with smoothie recipes helping you hone down the ingredients that are there to help you reverse maybe a specific symptom or a disease that's going on in your life, because it's like getting prescriptive about your food. And if you take it in the way nature intended, nice and raw and delicious, and you're drinking them, you're fast tracking your way to wellness in a beautiful way. And the last point, and once again, Brian and I have talked about, we've helped people from physically and emotionally and nutritionally. And there's one thing that everybody requires doing for themselves, which is have a goal. Have a goal. Because if you don't have goals associated to different aspects of your life, then you're not working towards anything, right? And so we expect you to have physical goals, emotional goals, job goals, family goals. And then there's so many people come to us and one of their first things are, I don't have enough time. And then when we dive into it, it's because their priorities are jacked up. They might not even have assigned priorities. And if you've ever met Brian and I in person, or you've seen us in one of our work shirts, we get GFHB in that order on all of our work shirts. That's God, family, health, and business. And we mean that in that order, because you know what? If it doesn't fit into one of our 4 priorities, then it falls at the wayside to our priorities. And so time alleviates itself. Time is the one thing that we're all granted the exact same amount of. So if you don't have enough time, what's filling up your time, and is it falling in line with your priorities? And then who's holding you accountable? Because you know what? If there's not somebody holding you accountable, most people will fail. And that's just the way life is. We're here to serve each other. And that's why we have got this accountability system for you.
So our old model is only trusting your health to your doctor and not adjusting your lifestyle choices, taking medications to manage your symptoms, trying fad diets, crash dieting, or fasting to lose weight. And let me just explain this. There is a big difference between losing weight and losing body fat, which we can expand on a little later. Next one is buying expensive supplements and diet pills and viewing life's obstacles as hard, too much work, and stressful. So we invite you to consider this, which is the new model. You can take responsibility right now for your health, well-being, and your future. You can learn how proteins, carbs, and fats impact your unique body composition and learn how to make them work for you. You can learn about the power of grocery store foods and not expensive supplements. Supplements are supplements, not your foundation. Life is a choice, and you can choose to make it fun and easy.
Johnny was one of my clients. We've known him for many years. He struggled. He's got missing organs. The Western medical system had really beat him up. And they didn't tell him how to manage his diabetes. They just basically put him on insulin, sent him on his way. And there's such a natural way to be able to help you manage your diabetes or reverse it. And so he's been a success story for us. And if you've lived in the South at all, you've probably been to Carino's, a pretty famous restaurant. It's his namesake. And I'll just let him share his little testimony real quick. Oops.
Hi, folks. This is Chef Johnny Carino speaking to you from my home here in Atlanta about Chris Van Berg. I just need to tell you, for the last 3-4 years or so, I have struggled with my very own health issues. I am an expert in the restaurant industry. I'm a great chef. When it comes to health, sometimes you need to reach out to other people. That's why I reach out and I trust Chris to help me with my plans on eating, being healthy, and ways to beat my diabetes. Chris is A1 in my book.
So here's your invitation, right? Join us, because we just obviously we want you to be part of our crew, and we want you to help you understand in our community. We want you to learn more life-changing, powerful information. We did share a lot with you this evening. I hope you took great notes. I hope you've got something that's valuable for you. But we have so much more to share. Once again, we can only fit so much into a little webinar. With all of our experience, it takes a little bit of time, but we'd love to be able to share this information with you. You can keep following us on Facebook, but here's your invitation to enjoy more of us. We're doing a nutrition program. It's got nutrition, it's got mindset, it spends a lot of time on symptom reversal foods. It's 6-hour trainings, 6 one-hour trainings that sometimes they go a little bit over. If you're not able to make the live session, you will be able to get the recorded version. You'll also get a healthy eating recipe book that we've done. And you know, this is, once again, this package is full of life-changing information. What happened? Here we go. So we also have a community, and I love our community because what we have is, it's basically all of our clients on a closed Facebook group where we share exclusive content with them. They can ask questions and they'll get a lot of community support. It's all like-minded individuals, all people that really care about their health and are changing. Tons of exclusive videos and content. And, you know, have you ever heard the expression, you are the sum of your 5 closest friends? And that really is, if you are really trying to make a life-changing decision for your health, then you need to surround yourself with other people doing the same. It's accountability, it's support, it's information and education. And so this is probably one of the most valuable things that we can offer. And we're going to include this if you purchase or if you enroll with us this evening.
So here's what you get. You get 6 online trainings. So we already discussed all about nutrition, like all the stuff we talked about tonight, but even more in depth so you can really sink your teeth in and learn some amazing stuff. We're also going to have some mindset stuff. We'll talk specifically about symptom reversal foods and how to create a nutrition program for life, not a diet. Okay, you'll have access to the recordings if you miss the live sessions. That way you can go back, pause it, take notes. And let me just tell you, this is one of my favorite ways to learn. Like, I'll get my teacher's information and I'll watch these things so much that I find myself talking like my teachers. Now, you can do that if you choose, but this is one of my best ways to retain information. So we're glad and happy to be able to serve it with you this way. And also, you'll get our healthy eating digital book where you have some of our favorite recipes and a ton of ones that you can use to get great ideas. And really, as you start venturing into this health field, or maybe you're already in it, it's all about having variety and understanding what's available to you. So as a bonus, you'll receive 2 months free access to our closed paid membership site where we post exclusive content for you to dig into, and you also can interact and communicate with all the people in the group, which is great because you have a support system in place where we interact and we also answer a bunch of questions. So all that stuff included will be a total investment of $837 value, but we've got some more stuff for you. So in that, we're going to throw in the healing power of smoothie recipes, and this is only for the first 10 people. Repeat, this is only for the first 10 people. Next one. So here's a recap. Last one. You'll get 6 online trainings like we discussed, nutrition, mindset, symptom reversal foods, a $697 value. Access to the recordings if you miss the live sessions. You'll also get our healthy eating digital book, which is great. You'll receive 2 months free access, and you'll also receive our smoothie recipe book, which will give you some amazing stuff so you can start incorporating your life. And let me just tell you, if you're not doing smoothies, your life is going to change immediately because of how you feel, what your brain's going to function like, and what your system is going to function like. It's well over worth $200 value. I can tell you that I would have paid $5,000 for my blender, knowing what I know now, how I feel, for sure.
So we're also going to include a consultation with us because, you know, this is actually one of the greatest things that we offer from a value perspective, because there's nothing like having somebody really understand you and what your struggles are. You know, if you look, there's Russell on the right, look at the success he was, but you know, he tried multiple times, got down to 13 beliefs, but if it wasn't with the emotional consultation with Brian, he would still be struggling back up to 23% because he wasn't aware of what was going on. You know, there's such value in that, in working with us. And we showed you Brian and I's before pictures. There's some after pictures of ours. Both of us in good shape. Obviously, we've learned how to take care of ourselves. Elise is over here, a client. From 6 months to be an average looking girl to she trained for her first fitness show. That happened 2 weeks ago, and she just got first in her very first show. So we encourage this but once again, our time is limited. So this is only for the first 5 people, but we encourage you to reach out, sign up, enroll right now, and you'll get a free consultation with Brian or I. So just lastly, there's nothing I can say about this testimonial that she doesn't say herself. So I'm going to play this testimonial. Please listen intently. It's beautiful.
Hi, my name is Violet. I choose to take a few minutes and talk to you about my experience with reaching out to Brian. About 6 months ago, I contacted Brian. I just had some questions about nutrition, you know, different things I could change up just to start feeling better. And we also talked about different medications I was on at the time. He mentioned foods that specifically could do the same thing as what the medications were doing, except naturally. And so along with that, and you know, the other list of things that you know, he said, you know, to try, I started doing that immediately. And after about a month, I started to wean myself off of one of my medications. And then after I got off that one, I started weaning myself off another medication. And after 3 months, I had gotten off of 5 medications. Some of these medications I was on for 30 years, some I was on for 15 years, and some I was on for 10 years. And so these are things that I thought I was going to have to take for the rest of my life. You know, before that conversation with Brian, I didn't even realize that there was another option. And you know, it's been 6 months since, you know, I talked to him about these, you know, specific things, and 3 months of being completely off medicine. And I really am so happy and thankful and grateful for Brian and for the work that he does, and just the love that he has for people, and showing them that they have other options, you know, that they can feel good just with the right information. And I just felt really blessed to, you know, have that opportunity to, you know, talk to him about those things going on in my health and in my diet, and that, you know, he's so knowledgeable and just really helpful, and offers you this opportunity to change your life. And that's at least the way I look at it, because I look at this more than just, you know, oh, I'm off medication. To me, it's a miraculous act, you know, to be able to say I'm free from all of this. And it's also given me, you know, such a sense of empowerment too, to know that, you know, doctors couldn't do this. Boots from the grocery store did this. So it's kind of wild, but definitely grateful for it. Thank you.
It's amazing testimonial. I love it. So wrapping it all up, look, 6 hours of training. It will probably be actually over 6 hours of training. Always, you will have access to the live recordings. We have a training portal where you can access them and watch them at your leisure once the program starts. Healthy Eating digital recipe book. You'll get 2 months access to our closed Facebook group, that community, which is amazing. You'll get some smoothie recipe videos from Brian and I. And if you're one of the first 5 people, you will get a consultation with Brian or I. This would look good at $1,500. I would pay $1,500 if I knew the information that was going to be shared with me. But obviously, we're not going to offer this. We would say $768 would be 50% off. I believe that would be an amazing deal as well. For the general public, we charge $499 for this. But since you stayed to the end and we have gone 15 minutes over the hour, if you sign up right now before 10 p.m., enroll below, $244. You just click the enroll link. It should take you to PayPal. Feel free to sign up right now. We encourage you to sign up right now. After this, we're going to raise the price up before the program starts. Once the program goes fully live, once again, the normal retail will probably be $499 to $700 or $800. So there's powerful value in there. And I will give you one last little detail, which is we guarantee if for any reason within the first 2 weeks that you're unsatisfied with this, we'll give us a call, email, whatever it may be. We'll give you a refund. Nobody has ever asked for a refund from us simply because the information we share is so valuable and life-changing. It is worth every penny. So please, I encourage you to right now. Listen, I hope you enjoyed something tonight. I hope you had some take-home stuff. We were so positive. I'm so glad to share this information with you. We love you, and that's why we choose to share this information. It has nothing to do with the financial aspect. We just are paid for our time, but we love to share this information, and it's life-changing, and we are so blessed to be able to share this information. Anything else you want to say in closing, Ben?
Yes, I do. What we're also thinking about doing is actually running a closed group for the enrollers yourself during that time frame, running a 6-week concurrent mastermind program where we work with you one-on-one in a small group setting, probably be anywhere from 8 to 20 people on a call, where we have it once a week for an hour, where we go through your stuff. We go through whatever emotional components pop up. We go through specifically on how to structure your food, your diet, what issues pop up on a daily basis, and we will provide support for you around all this information and help you integrate it into your life. So if this is something that you think is a good fit for you, I invite you to message us so we can have a conversation to see if it's a good fit and to see if or how we can help you out and support you on your process. So the only thing that I really have to add to you, and this was one of my coaches actually when I was about to make a $3,000 a month investment for my coaching, which is what I do now. He goes, Brian, if you focus on the payment, you'll never receive the payoff. And I was like, got a good point. $244, I can make $244 back in a couple hours easily. By how I felt, what I understand how to do from the grocery store when I have an ache and pain that shows up in this area of my body, what does this mean in my body? What food do I need? What kind of water do I need? How is my mindset? Am I creating this problem emotionally? If that's the case, then my words are creating this, and I understand this is the reversal pattern. Wow. That will save you your money automatically on medication reversals and just the peace of mind that you have about yourself, because you aren't investing in me and Chris. You're investing in yourself through us so that we can share and educate you on what we've been blessed to learn over our lifetime. So we look forward to seeing you soon. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Have an awesome night. Bye.
Have an amazing. Bye-bye.